And welcome back to the cross-border inspection point here, just before you get to the Beitbridge border post. And of course, we're here for the launch of the Border Management Authority. And we say the launch because I suppose today is about the official festivities, so to say, the occasion of it. But the authority is already in operation and started its work as a standalone entity, as the Minister had explained on the 1st of April this year. So just coming back to my conversation with Dr. Masiapato, who's of course the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, I just wanted to finish up our conversation, Commissioner, talking about what matters to the South African public. And they want to know about people crossing the border who place a strain on the South African fiscus in an illegal way. So the categories of people crossing the border, there are of course people who live just across and come here to trade. They come, they buy goods and they go home. Then there are others who perhaps are further from the nearest border town who also come, maybe aren't able to access South Africa legally, find illegal ways to come in and go back, which is problematic as well, because if the fiscus is not benefiting, then something needs to be done about that. And then, of course, there's the criminal element, which many South Africans are up in arms against. So talk to us about what is happening and how you intend to deal with all of these issues.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Sakina, once again. I think what we need to say firstly is the complexities as you defined them. So there are a number of categories of people that we are actually dealing with here at the Beitbridge border post. Obviously, the main understandable formal ones are those who actually come through to the port with the requisite documentation, and they basically are coming through into the country. As they come in, as you will know, because they are from within here and within SADC, there is no any visa requirement. So they basically come with only a passport and they can come for any reason. So those are the ones we facilitate, no issues. But secondly, there are those who actually come more on a daily basis or kind of day after the other and all of that, mainly to come and buy things in Musina, go back to the country and go back to Zimbabwe to go sell things and all of that. Those ones we facilitate, there are no issues. But the third category are those that actually come through but they don't have the requisite documents and they cannot come to the port, and then they go through into the border fence. And those are the ones that the border guards' deployment, because we know the areas which they use, we deploy border guards there to go and counter those. When we talk about 35,000 being countered, 95,000 being denied access, and all of those people are actually included in all of those categories. But then there's the real one, and that is the ones that we have to put more effort on, and those are the ones who are facilitating illegal movement of goods, as well as narcotics and things like that, including human trafficking along the borderline. And those are the ones that we are putting more of our effort on, working with the SANDF. Now, what we then need to do, Sakina, which is something that we have started conversation with the Zimbabweans, is to assist those who are not having any criminal intent. They want to come and buy things, but they have no documentation just because of the difficulties for them to get those documents in the country. Those are the ones that we are going to be sitting down and design a mechanism as to how do we facilitate them in and out, because they are not a problem. But at the same time, Sakina, the more complex one, there are those who then come into the country with proper documentation, and their intention is to come, for example, for medical attention into the Republic. So for those ones, it's a bit difficult from a border management point of view. We can't do much about those. If they cross the country legally, and they happen to go to the medical facility or do any of those, I suppose that is something that the country must deal with in terms of those kind of activities in the country. But on our side, in terms of the actual work that we are actually doing, is to be able to target those that are doing illegal issues and be able to intercept them. As we speak now, there are a number of those that we keep on arresting, working together with SAPS, and they actually get placed at the holding cells here in Musina police station for further processing. So all those we are actually doing, but we are not as yet at a state where we can say we have started having a dent per se, because the road ahead is still very much long. And that is why more additional border guards will assist us to be able to have more impact going forward.
Dr. Masiapato, thanks so much for your time. And this is, of course, the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority. And you heard from him there. It's early days yet for them. They are seeing some inroads with regard to the guards that have already been deployed. But, of course, it is still a long road to go because lots still needs to be done. I beg your pardon, and as you heard, we still don't have that fence. We're not going to have that fence for a while yet, but I think it's important that the taxpayer is not made to actually shoulder the responsibility of paying for another fence when the one that was paid for is non-existent. So the SIU doing their job in that regard. I'm moving over now, talking to the operations on the ground, and especially as it pertains to the guards. I'm joined by Major General David Chilembe, who's the Deputy Commissioner Operations at the Border Management Authority. Deputy Commissioner, thanks so much for your time. And of course, we've been talking about the guards. We've been talking about the works that they've been doing. But let me start by asking you, have you been paying them?
Yes, we have been paying them, although we had some difficulties when we started, but yeah, we've been paying them, yeah.
So as we speak right now, all your guards have been paid. Nobody is disgruntled. Is there anybody who is disgruntled here? You've all been paid up to date. All the issues have been sorted out there?
Yes, I can mention that everything has been sorted out, yes.
So let's talk about your budget. Because, of course, this is a streamlining process. And there was, of course, an initial budget for this department, over 100 million. But then, of course, the budgets from the other departments who were separate entities at the borders, that also then needed to come to the Border Management Authority. So what is your budget for the current year?
Yeah, no. As we have mentioned, that the integrated departments came with their budget to us. We have further requested budget to Treasury in order to augment for operations. We have a figure that we have put to Treasury, but because of the other challenges, they only gave us 250 million this financial year to do the job.
And we know that's not going to be enough. But of course, there's going to be a further deployment of 400 more guards. So let's talk about the 200 that had already been deployed since last year. And what were some of the challenges, first off, that you faced?
Yeah, the first challenge that we had was the issue of accommodation, because we have to accommodate them at the ports of entry. And previously, the other government departments had already housing at those areas. So we need to talk to them in order to accommodate them in those spaces. Secondly, was the issue of the resources, buying of the specialized resources for them. We did try to get whatever that we got, but we didn't get the whole 100% of what we needed to bring them or to give them in terms of them doing their job.
And I suppose, Deputy Commissioner, the issue here is it's not just about launching a new entity. South Africans actually want to see a difference. They want value for money. It can't just be the establishment of a new entity, but business as usual. So is it still business as usual?
It is not. It is not business as usual, because pre-1994 and all these years when we were trying to do the integration, the main challenge was the fragmentation. As we can see them now, I'm with them here. These are the people that have been integrated. So there's now single control, single command and control, and we are controlling them from a central point of view.
So please introduce to us the people you have with you this morning. Please introduce them to us and where they've been integrated from.
Okay. On my left, I have got Karabo. She comes from the environmental part of the DFFE. That's the function that was integrated to us. And on my right, I've got Dr. Nkoma. He's from the immigration part of the function. And on my extreme right is Dr. Mashedi. He's from the agricultural part, the animal, those who are dealing with the animal products that are coming through the port of entry.
So the issue of corruption has, of course, been a bugbear for border authorities. How have you dealt with that, especially with the integration? If people were thought to be corrupt before the integration, have you just absorbed everybody? Has there been some form of cleanup of, the staff component that you are now integrating into this authority? How have you gone about this?
Luckily, Sakina, the BMA Act has got a Section 13 on it, which says everybody must be vetted, even ourselves. So that's how we are going to deal with corruption, that everybody, any person who will be working under the BMA will have to go through the vetting process. That's what we're busy with now.
And just finally, the modernization of the systems that are in use. You talk about a 200 million rand budget. That's hardly going to make a dent in anything, given that you now have additional staff to pay. So quite a bit of that's going to go to your wage bill. So how are you faring? Where's the money going to come from? Or is that going to be part of the solution from the public-private partnership?
Yes, the private partnership will help. However, we have also requested the budget from the Kara account. And they've promised us an amount of about 175 million that they'll be giving us in order for us to be able to do that job, yes.
Well, thank you so much. That was the Major General David Chilembe, Deputy Commissioner Operations, talking to us about the actual work being done. We're going to take you back to studio, and then when we come back, we'll also speak to the Mayor of Musina, just to find out about the impact that the border activity has on the town, and many stories being told by SABC reporters over the years about this, but we'll hear from the Mayor when we come back. It's back to studio.